call the regular council meeting to order. Chief Corain, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a roll call?
Berknick. Here. McKinney.
Here.
Shaver. Here. Horton.
Here.
Bertone.
Here.
No Heights.
May I have a motion to excuse Mr. Heights?
So moved. Second.
Sorry, hang on a second here. What do I got? This. Horton.
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Berknick. Aye. McKinney.
Aye.
Shaver. Aye. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 21st, 2026?
So moved.
Second. Bertone.
Aye.
Berknick. Aye. McKinney.
Aye.
Shaver. Aye. Horton.
Aye.
Thank you.
From our solicitor this evening, Mr. Lyons.
No report tonight.
Thank you, sir. From our administrator, Mr. Darling.
My full report is in your packet, but I do have a few highlights. Leak Seekers, a water leak detection company, was in the village on May 11th. They identified 4 leaks, 2 on the customer side of the service line, 1 water main, and 1 fire hydrant. 2 backflow check valves have been installed at the Richmond Street vault. This will prevent water from flowing back from our system into Paynesville City. So that meter only reads flow in one direction. So if for whatever reason Paynesville City would lose pressure, we would lose our water that we had already paid for and then pay for it again when it comes back through. But that issue has been addressed. Our urban forestry consultant has identified 37 street trees that pose a threat to public safety and require removal. We've obtained quotes from multiple vendors, and a resolution authorizing the expense is included in the packet. These funds will be reimbursed by ODNR as part of our urban forestry grant. And the village will host the ODNR Division of Forestry's Tree Commission Academy on July 29th and 30th. Tree Commission Academy is a regional program for tree commission members, council members, mayors, and staff to better understand street trees and the role of a tree commission. That'll be a series of 4 two-day courses. This will be the first time in 5 years at least since there's been one hosted in our portion of Northeast Ohio. And then the Ohio Municipal League has provided us with free Amazon Business Prime for at least the next 2 years. This is a great benefit. It's valued at about $500 per year. This is a program that Fiscal Officer Chris Page and I lobbied OML for, and this basically makes our membership in OML worth it. I get that most people are not excited about Amazon Business Prime, but it'll make the Chiefs' lives easier, it'll make my life easier.
Nice.
That is all that I have.
Thank you, Lucas. Anyone have any questions?
I have one question. Can you tell me a little bit more about this ICMA at the bottom?
Yeah, that is something that so ICMA, the International City County Management Association, they have a recognition process for local governments that either are council manager systems, which we are not, or have a different form of professional management. I exist so we qualify as having a form of professional management. I think the last one that went through this process in Ohio was in the 2010s. It was like a 3-page application that I stumbled upon on the ICMA website. So we get no real benefit outside of a certificate suitable for framing.
Yeah, it's good. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it adds us to a list of local governments that are recognized as having professional management.
Yeah, because you said something about, I think you had the county listed on here, right?
Painesville City and Menor are both on there.
Okay, but that's it from Lake County?
That's it. None of the other communities in Lake County have gone through the process to apply.
Nice, cool, thank you.
Very good, okay. Any other questions? Okay, from our engineer, Alan?
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Apologies for missing last time. I would much rather be here again than hanging out with my 3-year-old niece and 5-year-old nephew. That was quite a week visiting my sister, but always good to see family. So
Remember, we are taped,
Recorded, by the way.
and they may
she
watch
is not
you, so-
watching. I know my sister,
It's on YouTube.
I'm just saying.
but yeah, I appreciate everyone letting me speak again. We have a good couple projects going on in the village that we're going to touch on, starting with the OPWC Round 40 Stormwater Catch Basin Project. This is for round 40, so the money's going to be available in July. There's going to be a formal legislation ordinance getting passed to get us under design and contract services for proceeding with the design and bidding of this job, in which we're going to replace and adjust some of the failing stormwater catch basins, limited storm laterals necessary to tie these in, and try to bring all of these catch basins to grade that just look poorly or broken and not currently doing their job of maintaining the flooding on the streets. The next will be the Stormwater System Asset Inventory and Rating Program, very similar to the conditions assessment I'm going to speak on in a moment. Right now, we don't really have a true geographic information system, a GIS, of our stormwater inventory, showing all your laterals, all your catch basins, the tie-in points, the depths, the inverts, that really help us pick the best projects to do, understand the condition, the age. So similar to what we did in the water side the past couple of years, we're going to develop a full comprehensive GIS, a digital database showing all the pipe sizes, the diameters, the invert levels, and developing a capital plan that will allow us to target grant money, any loans out there, small loan percentages, and have a defensible metric for prioritizing our stormwater capital fund, which has some money in it that we want to effectively use, which is why we're going to go together and put an asset plan together and have one comprehensive GIS of both the sanitary, storm, and water, which will be very useful for evaluating funding in the future. This should be anticipated, I would mention, at the next council meeting. I'm hoping to have DeLucas in the next 2 weeks. We have a couple of random funding things out there right now for Orchard Street park improvements. This was through the David Joyce Capital Project Fund, and we are looking at requesting $261,000. We're still waiting to hear back from that, but essentially I've touched on this, and there's a bunch of detail in the packet. Essentially some improvements at the Orchard Street location where the old tower was, and doing a stormwater retention basin and doing some playground equipment just to really spruce up the area and really make use of that land that we own with the previous tower now gone. Bob, my cohort, or my mentor, is going to talk very briefly in a minute about secondary Water Street, so I'm not going to hit the major highlights, but we have been awarded $929,000 of grant money to complete this project from David Joyce's office, in which we also applied for the Water Revolving Supply Loan Account through the EPA. And we are getting close to the point of recommending the previous bridge attachment versus Bob talking about another option of HDDing, which is horizontally directional drilling a pipe underneath the Grand River in application of using a different pipe material that wouldn't have any joints, limiting the opportunity for leaks. So I'm going to let Bob talk about that in a little bit and not hit too much other highlights, but we are working on giving you the final recommendation. That's where this cost estimate came from, for you guys to plug into the rate study budget and make a decision on moving forward. Next, we're going to talk about the AMI program that we also applied for the Capital Project Fund. We're looking at a couple different projects for OPWC Round 41. This could be one of them, or the Vine Street improvements for the 300 block, currently where the new school is being put. As we're all aware, the 300 block of Vine Street has been beat up a little bit, so that we're looking at, or replacing the meter program. Whatever is going to fit best into the funding metric and get us the best score is what we're going to proceed with, and whatever we have the money for. And then to hit it off on a high note, the Water System Conditions Assessment, the grant for $20,000 from the EPA, which is going to involve the final categorization and digitalization of the water asset plan. We're going to update the inventory, create you guys a 20-year capital plan, and really identify the best projects that we should be knocking out in the village long term, and creating that comprehensive geographic information system so we can see all the water infrastructure geolocated to a correct location, so when Pat has to go out there and he sees there's a leak or knows there's a leak somewhere, he knows exactly where that water main and valve is at. So again, that's a grant from the EPA and is going to be a very useful grant for finishing up the work we've been doing the last couple of years in the water system and really get a nice data set for all the water. But nothing too more formal than that. I appreciate everyone's time again today.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, cool.
Thank you. And then I was going to let Bob speak on the secondary water connection very briefly and talk us through the two methods of design that we have as a choice to proceed with.
I don't know, Alan talks so much about that, I'm not sure there's a lot left to say. But just a few short years ago, the village was having a problem with your water treatment plant. CT Consultants, longtime consultant, came in and helped resolve that problem in a very important way to hopefully help the village long term. Part of that, though, was also trying to find a water source. That selection came down to Paynesville, and as was already mentioned tonight, there is a master meter coming from Paynesville through a pressure reducing vault, and that's how the village gets our water. The problem with a situation like this is we have one connection. So if anything ever happens to that connection, we're out of water. Now the good thing is we got a tank close by here, beautiful tank by the way, and there is some water in storage. But when that goes dry, you have nothing. One of the things that I've preached for my entire career is reliability and redundancy. It's very important to have multiple ways to get water in your system. A couple years ago, the village started down this process again, looking at where can we get a second tie-in point. Basically, the St. Clair Bridge area was the area that was selected to look at that. Now, friends of mine, Rich Iafelis was in here several times talking through that project, talking about ways to go about doing that. Well, Alan has had meetings with Lake County, and we looked at the option with putting the water line on the bridge. One of the big problems with that is the bridge has undergone a lot of upgrades and changes in the last several years. And one of the things that they did recently was they added more weight to the bridge. And basically, Lake County is telling us there really is no reserve capacity to hang that water line on that current bridge. So that got Alan and I to talk through what are some of the other options. And one of the things I've done quite a bit in my career is I put water lines on bridges. I put them under the bridges through concrete, encased through rocks. We've done directional drilling, boring and drilling, a lot of different methods to get water lines under bridges. So what we looked at here, what makes the most sense, in my opinion, is doing a horizontal directional drill. As Alan already mentioned, that's using a high-density polyethylene water main, no joints, so you don't have to worry about the joints coming apart in the middle of the wintertime. Not that that's ever happened before to anybody. But it's very important that no joints, no leaks. Mentioned the leak detection earlier. You won't have that on a horizontal, on an HDPE pipe. Now, somebody could cut it if they hit it great with a backhoe, but when you have a water line buried 5-6 feet, you're typically not worried about that. So we looked at the two options. If we go with the bridge, basically it would pretty much have to be a separate structure. And I've designed water lines and sewer lines on those separate structures too. Can be done. There are pros and cons. Or boring the water line under the bridge. Also looked at that. Can be done. They all come with pros and cons. There's no such thing as a perfect solution. When we looked at the cost estimate two ways, if we hang it on a separate structure, you're looking at about $1.5 million, and you guys should have this in your packet, about $1.5 million. And you have the other problems. It's hung, you're exposed to freezing. You know, what if something hits it weird, flow in the wintertime, ice jam, anything like that could potentially happen. I don't know, you guys may never have that up in this part of the state, but I've seen those ice jams take out things before. Or we go under the river, horizontal directional drilling, less cost is about $1.1 million. And as Alan has already mentioned, you have two different funding sources already selected. The David Joyce, I like to call it free money. It's really nice, over $900,000. That buys you an awful lot of direction towards that. The most important thing, though, isn't how you do this. Yes, we recommend the horizontal directional drilling. It's going to save you money. It's got a lot of pros that we think outweigh the pros of the other way. But the most important thing is it gives you that secondary feed. That is your reliability and redundancy should something happen to the current water line on the bridge that is out here now, that is a fairly old line. Things do happen, and it's better to have that second solution in place before you experience a problem with the current one. That's what I'd like to share with you. If you guys have any questions for me, we'll try to answer those for you.
I don't have any questions, but I think just a couple of points of clarification.
Sure.
It's a requirement of the EPA to have the second connection, correct?
They strongly recommend that you have a second
It was
connection.
not ever strongly recommended, it was required, as I understand it. If this is a recommendation and we don't need the second connection, I don't know why I would incur the debt. As I understand, it is a requirement to have the second connection as per EPA, yes or no?
I would say that in all the cases that I've dealt with, they try to get every community to have a secondary or even a third connection.
So again, I'm looking for clarification because I am here to tell you that the $900,000 ain't free money, that's taxpayer money. And I understand the gift that's been given. Believe me, I'm not looking the gift horse in the mouth. But this council and I was instructed by CT that the second connection was a necessary or needed item. That's why we ran the water line down the street that we did here on St. Clair. We wouldn't have spent that money and incurred that cost into a system that has very few ratepayers paying into it. So I would like clarification then if we need this line. If we don't need this line, council's free to do what they want for the reasons that you mentioned that I don't necessarily disagree with. But we produced our own water for almost 100 years with a single source. So if we don't need it, I think I'd like some clarification on that.
Yeah.
I
Mayor, I'd
will
lo-
get clarification on that, and we'll get you the information of where it is in the Ohio Revised Code or the EPA requirement codes, so
Yeah.
you'll know
Fair enough,
exactly where it's
yeah,
at.
right, yeah, because that's what I'd like to see, because that's the reason why, again, that we're pursuing this. Without it, I don't know that I need to take on the debt in a system that's having a hard time maintaining it, right? We had a meeting earlier tonight about water rate in increases that we're going to be passing along, and we need to be crystal clear in why and how we're doing that. We're an island basically here. There's no users coming online to help with the system. So we just need to be very, very aware of what we're doing and why. Okay?
Very good.
But thank you for the information. And thank you for looking into the cheaper source too. Because again, I remember talking it through earlier on with Rich. At that time, going under really wasn't an option because I think the cost was more than going across the bridge. But for some reason, the county, and I know we had conversations with the county folks. I don't know if something happened in the last overlay on the bridge that took the weight over, but they were very much on board with going across at one point. So,
And just to clarify, in a meeting that I actually was in with Alan, with
Mm-hmm.
the county, they made it very clear, yes, that overlay, they added additional weight, and they made it clear that we cannot hang it on that bridge.
Fair enough,
Unless
right.
we, the village, do something very significant.
nope, understood.
And they recommended the separate piers.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So Mayor, that leads me to another question. Do we have a problem with our bridge? Are we that close?
Oh, they added it basically as padding on top. It was another 2 inches.
Well, I realize what they did, but.
Right,
the
no, it
question
does
I'm
bring up a
asking
good
is-
point.
That's with all the safety load factors, et cetera, still built in. It's basically the structural equations that they would have to do a study to evaluate if we can put this entire weight on, and that would cost them additional money, and there's no guarantee that it would come back favorably.
Okay, we don't have a problem with the bridge, though, holding weight capacity, right?
Oh, it's current capacity, that is correct.
Okay.
It's just a reserve to add the additional weight of a new water line.
Okay.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Fiscal Officer Report, Chris Page.
The financial report for the month of April was included in your package. For the month, we received $282,616.94. Some portion, the majority of that, I believe, is real estate tax revenues. Expenditures for the month were $301,382.03. Your reconciled balance is $4,987,024.26. For the month of April, your investment interest was $14,772.28. Year-to-date, we're at $51,999.31. Year-to-date, the revenue we've received thus far is $2,291,562.84. Expenditures year-to-date are $1,430,142.05. In your package is the reconciliation as well as your receipts and your payments for the month. I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has any.
I do not have any.
Thank
Anyone
you.
have any questions of Chris? Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Standing Committee, Safety Committee, I know the reports are in your packets. Anything for good grants or welfare?
Yes, just quickly. This summer, the village will launch a village flag design contest. This will come through goods and grants, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. Should be exciting. The FHODC is working on downtown planters this Friday, 10 o'clock to noon, and then we'll have hot dogs over at the mini golf, in the mini golf building for lunch. And Lucas and I will take another round over at Orchard Street Playground, take a look, see what needs to be removed next. And then, of course, I think it was mentioned in the engineer report that we have a grant that we're looking into revitalizing that park. So I think that's it.
I thank you. Sorry, I'm writing down times for Memorial Day.
Rude.
Okay, thanks. All right, brings us to legislation. Ordinance number 2025-44, amending Village Code 112107, restrictions in C2 zoning, that's been tabled. Ordinance number 2026-44, amending 375 and adopting 377 golf carts, that's on second read.
Mayor, I have a couple
Yes, sir.
questions about that. So, significant changes in there,
Mhm.
and maybe some assumptions. I'd like to revisit the speed or the definition of golf cart. So, for example, Polaris makes, and I have two of these, gem cars, but a number of people have gem cars around the village, and they're designed to travel at 35 miles an hour because they actually, all these vehicles can travel on a road that's 35 miles an hour, which is much more safe than traveling 25 on that road. So you imagine East Street, for example. So we're restricting the speed limit of those vehicles, which will then effectively outlaw those. And a good portion of those vehicles in the village are already traveling at that speed. I don't know if this is arbitrary or how we came up with that number, but I think we got to revisit that. We can't outlaw everybody's vehicles.
Are you talking about the operation on public streets with a posted speed limit of 35 miles or less, or what
Well, no,
specific?
the actual speed limit, so low-speed vehicle, we're defining a low-speed vehicle as something that means 25 miles an hour or less. The federal definition of that is not that. That's why you can travel on a road that hits 35 miles an hour. So if you buy a gem car or other cars like that, a Polaris vehicle, they actually, low-speed vehicle, an e-vehicle, can travel at 35 miles an hour, so they can drive on those roads safely and successfully. So, and that's how we wrote these law. We wrote this law back in, I think, 2001, somewhere around there. And we took that into account at the time, and it seems like we're redefining that, and there are a number of vehicles that were purchased between those now and then, and we're gonna outlaw them if we pass this the way it is.
Okay, so I don't see why we couldn't find that verbiage
Yeah.
and put it back in. Do you have it marked
I
here,
can work,
or?
well, I can work with Lucas on this and
I have
and
no
Jim.
problem with
Yeah,
that, sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you bringing it up.
Thank you.
Can I ask Tony a question?
Yes.
What kind of vehicle are you talking about?
So there's a number of electric vehicles made by, the particular one I have is called GEM, G-E-M. It was made by Polaris. Polaris makes a number of new vehicles like that. and they're all designed, they're e-vehicles, low-speed vehicles, they're all designed to travel at 35 miles an hour. Very difficult to limit that speed once they travel at that rate.
Okay.
I guess you gotta watch yourself on, I guess, the speed limit, but, you know, I think it's somewhat, if you're able to drive on East Street at 35 miles an hour and your vehicle's going 20, 25, you become.
And I
Safety,
remember
yeah.
what you're talking about. We had the same discussion, and I'm sure we have it
Yeah.
struck out here somewhere that we'll just have to bring
Yeah,
back.
it's very definitional driven in this ordinance, and then also the e-bikes. I mean, the definitions are kind of the key to the whole thing in terms of being able to follow it, so. So Lucas, who loves this kind of stuff, will certainly take a look at it.
I'm sure you will, yeah. And I know the e-bike is the genesis of this, and there's all kinds of those, and e-bikes are, I mean, you've got the scooters, the e-bikes, and all of those
Yeah.
sort of things.
Yeah, mine can get up to 30 pretty easily, I'm gonna be honest, I have
Yeah,
an
they all,
e-bike.
I
They're
mean,
fun.
they all, you can get one of those scooters in Cleveland, and those things will go 30, 35
Oh, yeah.
miles an hour. That's actually, I view that actually as a good thing, because if you're not traveling at the pace of traffic, you become a safety risk, yeah, so,
I think
anyways.
we'll probably need some input from the chief also, because I'm not so sure that your vehicle wouldn't qualify just as a regular motor vehicle under the.
Mine would, but some don't, depends on,
Yeah,
you know, how they were built, and if you buy them from Allen's Golf Carts, for example, and they're set up with that same motor, they're gonna travel that speed, and again, a number of vehicles have been set up that way. I'd hate to outlaw them.
With a little bit of input on this, and with the legislation, we only went on basically some guidelines, and one of them is the Ohio Revised Code that basically defines a golf cart to be street legal with a max speed of 25 miles an hour. So that
Yeah,
kind
so
of-
maybe we have to just, well, we're defining a low-speed electric vehicle, though.
That's included
And-
with the low speed.
Yeah, but you're calling that at 25 miles an hour. A low-speed electric vehicle is different than a golf cart. So, we don't have to do this
Yeah,
here,
we'll
I
have
mean,
to-
yeah.
We'll have to look at it again, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think we pretty much mirrored what was in the Ohio Revised Code, for especially golf carts, so. And I believe that was, the top speed of those couldn't be
Golf-
over 25.
Golf carts, yes, low-speed electric vehicle is a different animal. And I think Jim's right, it's more along the lines of being a motor vehicle, not a golf cart. So we need to define that in here. I think we're mixing it a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
you know, we were ahead of the curve when we did this.
Hmm.
You know, we were the first, well, other than maybe Marblehead or somebody like that, or
Right.
Key West, but we were the first to allow vehicles like this. I think that's changed the villages a bit as well, so.
I brought it back with me from the villages.
Right on, exactly. Yeah.
I have a quick question,
Mm-hmm.
just so I can understand. I want to be able to visualize. You know the vehicles that, they look like they've got a wheel in the front, they've got two in the back. They're not-
Slingshots.
It's not a
Slingshots.
slingshot.
Yeah,
What is a slingshot? Is that like considered like a motorcycle then?
yeah.
Motor vehicle, yeah,
Okay.
car,
Car?
motorcycle, same thing, motor
Okay.
vehicle, yeah.
Okay.
They can travel on the highway.
Yeah, I wonder, like, it's
Yeah.
hard to, but then, you know, you look at like some of the four-wheelers and things like that, it's hard to tell a difference sometimes. So I don't know, the slingshot looks like an oversized, like, off-roading sort of vehicle to me, but it makes sense that it would be a motorcycle, like a motorcycle.
And should I add into this, there's just so many, there's such a wide variety of different type of vehicles now, like the one that you're describing too, that's, you know, that could be something that's outside the definition now. We have, you know, if you're not familiar with, you got side-by-sides, you got these small compact electric vehicles now that look like a full-size motor vehicle, but they're not considered that. So we just, you know, we're trying to catch up with what we, you know, what we're proposing in here, so.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 2026-47, a resolution adopting a cybersecurity program for the Village of Fairport Harbor and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt. Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
We've needed that for a long time.
Suspend, Bertone,
Aye.
Shaver, Backnick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Horton. Adopt, Bertone,
Aye.
Shaver, Backnick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Horton.
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2026-48, a resolution authorizing the use of land lease area for Fairport Harbor Marina and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Suspend, Horton,
Aye.
Backnick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Shaver, Bertone.
Aye.
Adopt, Horton,
Aye.
Backnick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Shaver, Bertone.
Aye.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2026-49, an ordinance adopting Village Code Chapter 906 regarding the regulations for commercial use of the public rights-of-way and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt. Second. Move to suspend. Second.
Suspend, Shaver,
Aye.
Backnick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Adopt, Shaver,
Aye.
Backnick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2026-50, a resolution authorizing the administrator to execute a task order with Verantis for the OPWC Round 40 Catch Basin Replacement Program for a total cost of $50,000 and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Suspend, McKinney,
Aye.
Backnick,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Adopt, McKinney,
Aye.
Backnick,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2026-51, an ordinance amending Village Code Chapter 373 to address the operation of bicycles, electric bicycles, motorized bicycles, and personal assistive mobile devices.
Mayor, can we also, while we're looking at the other one, just double check this one before we go
Yes.
through with it?
We could put this on first read,
That would be great.
you know what I mean? So that's fine.
I think they're sort of related, just
I
make sure
would
we don't
agree.
miss anything.
Resolution number 2026-53,
2.
I've got, I don't have it in the packet. Hold on a second. A resolution authorizing the administrator to enter a contract with Independent Tree LLC to remove 37 street trees and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt. Second. Move to suspend. Second.
Suspend, Backnick,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Adopt, Backnick,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Bertone.
Aye.
Thank you.
Lucas, can you talk a little bit about this? Because this is a pretty big deal. This was grant money,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, so earlier this year, the village received a grant from the Ohio Division of Forestry for $100,000. And this is over the course of, and this will be spent over the course of 2 years. So the first part of that grant, we obtained the services of a man named Alan Seward. He is our urban forestry consultant. He walked the entire village and looked at trees. He mapped where trees were. He poked trees with sticks. Sometimes his probe went through the tree, which is terrifying, and he documented where those trees were. So he gave us a list of 37 trees that are the absolute worst of the worst in the public right-of-way that need to come down. And so then we were able to use some of that $100,000 in grant funding to remove these trees. Alan's currently working on I do want to clarify. The tree Alan is not the engineering Alan. Alan Seward is currently working on a restocking plan, which will be a probably 25-year effort. If we go in tomorrow and restock every space, we're going to be in about the same in about the same bad spot in 50 or 75 years when that wave of trees begins to die. The goal is slow, incremental, long-term, sustainable growth. But that grant is covering the cost of removing these first 37 trees.
Well, thank you for going out and getting that grant and putting this together. So a lot of good work there. Resolution number 2026-53, a resolution appointing Ryan Jarek as a firefighter 1 for the Village of Fairport Harbor, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Suspend Horton,
Aye.
Bertone,
Aye.
Backnick, McKinney, Shaver. Adopt Horton,
Aye.
Bertone,
Aye.
Backnick, McKinney, Shaver. Thank you.
Resolution number 2026-54, a resolution to support submission of a State of Ohio Brownfield Remediation Program Fund Assessment Grant by the Lake County Land Reutilization Corporation for the 625 East Street property and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Suspend Bertone,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Backnick, McKinney, Shaver. Adopt Bertone,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Backnick, McKinney, Shaver. Thank you.
Okay, does council have anything else this evening? Okay, before I open the floor to the public, I would like to remind everyone that we have Memorial Day coming up Monday. We have 3 ceremonies here in the village. 8:30 is down at the pier. 9 o'clock is in Memorial Park. Some of the monument has been erected, and there's some concrete work that's been done. It's not completed by any stretch of the imagination, but it's well on its way. And then 9:30 at the cemetery on East Street is where we conclude it. So none of the events are very long. There is a bike parade between the Memorial Park and the cemetery. So if you've got kids or grandkids that you'd like to have participate. I can tell you that it means a whole lot to the gentlemen and gentleladies that are carrying the flags, their rifles, or in their uniforms, and being recognized for their service. So very nice events. So just take a little bit of your time and come on out and support them. I'd like to put a special thanks out to the voters for the support of the levies that passed with pretty good success. I think it's a testament to the fine services that our employees continue to give, both police, fire, and service. I know service was quite excited that they beat both of the safety forces, so that's a feather in their cap, but not to take anything away from what our police and firemen do for us. Lucas with the administration, Chris with the money, and then to the council members, your stewardship and what we do and how we spend our dollars here makes a big difference. And voters speak, and it's a big deal when they pass levies by 60-40% margins, especially on property taxes. So thank you for those that supported it. And for those that didn't, it's not that we don't appreciate you, but know that we're continuing to do the best we can with the dollars that we're given. So thank you for that. I have nothing else this evening, and I will open it up to the floor. Yes, sir.
Greg Major, 501 New 4th Street. The subject at hand today is 346 Vine Street. You know it well. The last 8 years, we have had nothing but issues at this place. Now, I need to ask Mr. Lyons a question. Is there any laws or ordinances or anything that a nuisance house can be boarded up in the village?
I'd have to look at, but we do have a nuisance ordinance in the police code where if a person creates a certain number of events, then the police can start charging them on a per hour basis, is my recollection, in order to try to bring it into compliance. And that amount, if not paid, can be put as a lien on their property. So now in terms of I heard the address, I heard 346, I didn't hear the rest, but, I mean, if you have, Greg, specific complaints in terms of what you believe to be a nuisance, then you can certainly share that with the police chief and or Lucas, and we'll look into it to see if there's anything
Okay,
that
well,
can be done.
I'll let you know. Here's the problem. I don't care, they can sell their drugs, they can smoke their dope out there, I could care less. They can kill each other on their own property, I don't care. When it comes to my property, I got a problem with that. Now, we've called 911 many times, and the police always show up. They're there, and what happens is, the bad guys just take off running down the street. Police, you know, they tried finding them, can't find them. So they come back and try to do a follow-up, and then they get harassed. That you can't, you know, you can't be on my property, get out of here. You know, or the guy that's the problem isn't there anymore. He'll come back a couple hours later, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, it starts all over. Now, Thursday night, when they had the little, a little concert or whatever they had over at the school, the parents were all leaving, 6:30 at night. There was a brawl right in the middle of the street, right on the corner of Vine and Newforth. And the fire department is right there, and they have to pick up the pieces. Now, I don't care about the, like I said, I don't care what they do on their own property, but when it comes over to my property, now the police, their hands are tied. They can only do so much. They're there. I have all the faith in the world of them. They come there, and they do, and nobody wants to press charges against each other, whatever they want to do. So if there's no ordinances and their hands are tied, the only thing I see left is we have to defend our own property. And I sure hope it doesn't come to that. I've been toe-to-toe with these people. They've come on my property and we've had conversations. But it's gotten worse than that. The violence has just gotten way too hand. They're fighting in my front yard. The widow next door, they're fighting there. Police come, they all take off. So it's got to stop. So, my question is, now that the council knows, I just want this on record, because now that council knows that this is an issue, if you didn't know before, now you know. So one of two things can happen. You can either say, well, we'll look into it, and maybe it'll blow over, or we all end up on the 6 o'clock news. It's up to you. But we aren't going to put up with it anymore. We've put up with this for 8 years. Now, we sent letters to the owner, and he says, as long as they're paying your rent, let the police take care of it. And that's where it ends. So it's up to you guys now. It's out there, it's on record, and we're just letting you know that we are going to defend our property now, because it has escalated over into our side of the fence. What they did on their side of the fence, I don't care. But when it comes over to my side of the fence, I do care.
So Greg, it sounds like this has been a long-standing issue. I mean, I'm not aware of it. I guess I'm aware of it now. But you standing up here and saying all this is nice. But I can tell you what would help, okay, is you're writing out a statement with specific facts, specific dates.
Oh, we've got it.
Specific names.
We've got it.
Okay, if you got it, then we need it.
All right, we'll give it to you.
Okay.
But
Now,
in the
I'm not-
meantime,
Hang on. I'm not telling you, you know, that there's anything that we could do, but we can look into it in terms of whether or not it's a nuisance property. There is a provision in Title 37, I believe, of the Ohio Revised Code that talks about nuisance properties. Okay,
All right.
where we can take a look at that and decide based on the facts and the laws, all we can do here.
I
okay,
understand.
You know, whether or not it fits and whether or not we can take any action. But once again, anytime you go to court, you need people to testify. So you would have to testify and other people would, and a lot of times cases collapse because people do not want to testify or get involved. But, you know, the village, and you know this as well because you're here at every meeting, okay? You know the village is behind you and is willing to support you.
that.
So don't, I mean, we're glad you're here. Give us the information.
We
okay?
will.
There you go.
I have all the faith in the police department.
And
It
so
just
do I.
seems that their hands are tied sometimes,
Well,
and
the
they
police,
can't.
their hands are tied in terms of having a witness to say that this person did this or that person did that, because they have to prove every case beyond a reasonable doubt, okay?
Okay.
Even
Okay.
a nuisance complaint still has to be proved by a higher standard of proof than just more reasonable, I mean, more likely than not. I mean, it's a little bit higher standard, but it's different. In that case, could end up in common pleas court, okay? In terms of the court then would have to fashion some sort of a remedy.
All right.
Okay? But, you know, so.
I don't know if I'm on over here. Thank you. So I think back when we did the rental inspections years and years ago, Vern, I think you were administrator at the time. I think we put in place a provision that protected against these types of things with drug use and bad properties that were rental properties. Now, I know we don't have the rental inspection piece of the program anymore. I think the law still exists. We're not inspecting, but that component of the law should still be in place, that if there were, I think if I remember correctly, they had to sign, don't they have to submit when they have renters coming in if there's more than 3 occurrences of complaints? That we have something on the books that we wrote 20 years ago for this situation. So maybe it doesn't apply exactly, I don't know, but maybe we could look into that, Lucas, and see what's in the books with rental inspection. It should be there, or that part of that legislation, which gives the ability to the police department to claim it's a nuisance.
So I want to add a couple things with that. The only issue with the nuisance property aspect of this, in particular with Mr. Major's complaint here, is that some of these crimes or the incidents that take place won't qualify for that type of, to be classified as a nuisance over a period of time. If I'm right, Mr. Lyons, there's some that are just, you can't classify, even though we're over there and we're dealing with things, some of them are just not classified as being a nuisance because you're talking about victims that live there, and there's certain high standards that have to be met before we even get into that. Unfortunately, in a case, which I believe if I'm understanding right from Mr. Major, is that some of these cases here are not going to be classified under being a nuisance because sometimes, I mean, things happen in people's houses and homes, and we go and deal with the problem, and they're things that happen inside the home.
Yeah, Chief, I think
If I could put that into some other words.
Yeah.
Okay, if it involves domestic violence, okay, you know, that's what's happening in the house, you know, where somebody's beating up somebody else, and we bring these nuisance type actions, okay, then the federal law and federal courts, my recollection, have held, okay, that we are disadvantaging those people because they would not then call the police in order to get protection. So that is a problem, and there have been lawsuits against communities. Not that we're worried about lawsuits against communities, okay, or against the village, but we still have to deal with the facts as we find it. Now, if it's, you know, I'm not Lucas, who remembers every ordinance, okay, but I don't remember if disorderly conduct and loud noise is enough to trigger the nuisance. It may be, I don't know. From what you're saying here, Greg, what I heard is that there's fights there, you know, between the people, okay, and they're incredibly inconsiderate, and they do it at bad times of the night to disturb the peace of the neighborhood. That's what it sounds like to me, what you said tonight, right? And there's probably some domestic violence going on over there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
So I think our law, though, that we wrote, wasn't centered around that, though, Mr. Lyons. I think it was centered around the police department being dispatched 3 times or more
But
for the same matter.
It's the same thing, Tony.
Is it the same thing? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Cindy Miller, 433 3rd Street. I just want to thank the village. I want to thank Mr. Darling for allowing the Fairport Congregational Church to utilize the dumpsters for our Earth Day cleanup, which was on April 25th. We removed approximately 30 garbage bags of trash and 4 tires. And we did not, leave the tires at the village. We took care of those ourselves. But, we have noticed a decrease, especially along East Street, of trash that has been collected throughout the year since we've done this. We've started 3 years ago. So I just wanted to thank the village, and we're going to be coming to you again next year. And hopefully, we had 24 volunteers this time, was probably about 15 more than our typical high year. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not? Oh, yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Williams from 1249 High Street, and the reason that I'm here tonight, there's been some contentious issues in recent months that have been resolved. I'd like to thank the village, the board, and the past is the past. And there was a lot of common ground. Everybody agreed on one thing, the people that were for the issue and the people that were against the issue. Everybody said they're tired of looking at the entrance to the village, that nothing has changed in 30 to 40 years. People used different time frames. I have a question. I'm sure you're all aware, I'm just checking to see what it currently is. This 4 acres right next door is up for public auction. It's an absolute auction. I'm sure you're aware of that. It ends at 25 past 12 noon tomorrow. It's currently, the high bid is $20,001. This may be an opportunity for the village to start the process along with the triangle. And the reason that I'm really here tonight is when I was coming home, I noticed the survey stakes. I've noticed them, but somebody cut the lawn yesterday or today, and I didn't realize how far away from High Street they really are. I guess this question would be for Mr. Lyons. That's the easement, that property from the edge of the street where the white line is in the shoulder to where that red stake is? Well, there's several of them. Is that property owned by the village?
I don't know where the red stake is. However, I mean, as a general rule, a road, most people that are not involved in the government are civil engineers. Think of the road right away as just the pavement of the road. Typically, it's probably 60 feet wide, so the road may be 24 feet wide.
Yeah.
And then you have, the other 36 feet on either side. So if you would find the center of the road and you would walk to wherever that stake is, if it's, 15 or 18 feet, then it's probably owned by the village as part of the road right of way that the village controls, is what it would be.
That
I
sounds
would think
about the
that would
right-
be state-owned though, no? Because
Right.
that's not our road.
No, that would be,
That,
if it's that road there, then,
I believe you're talking about right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the state,
Then
if
it
that's the
probably
right-of-way,
is.
that's the state's
Right.
right-of-way,
Yeah,
that's
we
not
don't-
ours. Right.
whoever owns that part of the highway, it would be their road right of way.
Okay.
60. High Street would be 60, yeah.
There's a road right away, but it is a state road. The state also owns a strip of property there that they keep so that when they have to replace the bridge, I don't know if you remember.
I do.
years past, they've actually flipped it back
Right.
and forth.
Right.
The state owns a strip of property along High Street.
To expand on that, when I saw those stakes, and I don't know the answer to the question with the past issue that has been recently resolved, I would like to request either the property owner or the village, if that property could all be surveyed and see exactly who owns what. A lot of the complaints on Fairport Unfiltered, I believe it is, I'm not a big Facebook guy, but there was dozens of people. I'm tired of looking at the broken up concrete. Well, I am too, but I've never made that big of an issue out of it. And when I saw those stakes, it just triggered my thought process, who owns this? Because when the project was underway, there was some sewer lines that were a problem. I just think it'd be wise, including for the property owner, maybe he'd spend some of the money. What does he own? What doesn't he own? What does the village own? And take 40 years of hard feelings, maybe something good could come out of something bad. Let this be the beginning. Let's clean up the triangle. It really wouldn't take that much. And from what I saw as far as property maps and the presentations that I dealt with, I think you own, or the village, I think, own more than you think you own. The presentation that was put together as far as the arrow out into the middle of the road is not what everybody is led to believe. I had a little conversation with Lucas on this matter, and there is power out there, and he had suggested, this is our front door. When you come to somebody's house, you got a doormat or flower pots on the steps, that's our front door. And I've been to several meetings throughout the years. I've lived here 24 years, listened to all the comments on Facebook, and you know what? They've got some valid points. All of us collectively could do something about this. You're not talking about a lot of money. I don't know if the village owns these old, worn-out aprons that were probably put in, I'm guessing 1950 in that era. I don't know if you own a backhoe. It's no big deal to pull them out or rent a backhoe, throw them in a dump truck. A few loads of topsoil, just plant some grass. There's a weeping, I don't know the breed of the tree, like a weeping cherry tree. It's all overgrown. It's tangled in the wires. It's whether that should be removed or trimmed. There's a lot of steel, I guess they're fence posts, and they're all rusty, and they've been used in the past to hang the banners for various events. They put bungee cords on them, and that's fine, but I think there's a resolution to this. As I was talking with Lucas a couple months ago, wasn't aware that there's a new digital sign out in front of the police station, and it's really nice. And he had mentioned, he didn't commit to me, he just made a comment, maybe I could get a grant for something like that over there. And he was curious if there's power there. There is power there. There's a plate in the ground. It's the power for the traffic light. And I watched the council meeting last week, and somebody got overly enthusiastic. It's just, we're all intelligent people. It's just, we all live here. Every single one of us come down that Y in the road, whether you go to the right or you go to the left. Something can be done about it. I don't think what they did in the past on the island that's a triangle, I look like a garden club or something, put in a lot of flowers and perennials, whatever. But that's high maintenance. It requires water. When you're plowing the snow, you're getting salt in there, and it's going to kill the vegetation. The answer is just some more hardscape, whether it be a short retaining wall. How about a nice white gazebo? Nothing huge. I think you have a white gazebo up in the town square where they're building that monument, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure a lot of people in this town, you've got 84 and 10, 94 happy homeowners right across the street because of the resolution and what happened. I think a lot of them would pitch in. I'd pitch in. I'd throw down some money for this. If you need it, it sounds like you got a few million in the bank. I don't know if you do or not.
No, you're not paying attention to the right meeting.
I heard that the expenses too. But Lucas seems to have the talent and the unique ability to obtain grant money from the state of Ohio. And he was just talking about the tree project. As you come down the Y in the road, wouldn't it be nice to finally get rid of the rusted up stakes, have a digital sign that maybe the state of Ohio would be willing to pay for? You've got a grant for some trees, put 4 or 5 of the same type of tree on High Street and on East Street, and just welcome to Fairport Harbor. And who knows what'll come from there. The marina project looked like it's gonna happen. There's currently a lot of television commercials on the Lake Erie shorefront. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the Fairport Lighthouse is the first image, and it goes throughout Lake County, and the last image is this winery / B&B or hotel out on 528 on Lake Erie. So all I'm asking is, tomorrow, in the next 30 days, when you come in and you drive, maybe just hit the brakes, stop, pull to the side of the road. What could we do? I mean, a backhoe, some topsoil, some grass seed, 8 trees. We'll figure out a way to get a gazebo, because that's low maintenance. It doesn't require anything. They make them out of vinyl, and you can't be painting this every other year, scraping paint. I'll see you in 30 days, and just give it some thought. That's all I'm saying. Everybody was upset about this because they want to see some improvement. Well, let's do something about it. That's my
Thanks for your
all I
time.
have to say.
Appreciate
I'll
it.
see you next month.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mayor, and it probably goes to Mr. Lyons, really. So, first one being right-of-way. So the property owner, per law, any property in the village, anywhere really in the state of Ohio, is mandatory to be required or maintained by the landowner. So even though it's technically our property, the state's property, the maintenance of that, your aprons, your sidewalks, all of that are mandated by law to be maintained by the property owner. So I don't know who the property owner is there without looking it up. So that's one. So Mr. Lyons can probably confirm that. 2.
Confirm. That's what the law says.
Correct.
There are some groups out there that are challenging that because they're saying you can't put that burden on owners if they don't own it, but
Right, but until it goes to the Supreme Court or some high-level
Right.
court, that's the facts, that's the way it is now. That's why we can't do anything with it, or why we haven't done anything with it. We've had these conversations I've been here almost 28 years, and we've been talking about it for that time. But the encouraging thing I just heard was tomorrow at noon is when the bids for that property end, and it's only at $20,000. And I would have no problem making a motion to authorize the mayor and the administration to go put a bid in or buy that property. And
What's our cap?
turn it in. I don't
maybe
want
if you're gonna tell a cap.
I won't,
Right,
I
no,
won't
Maybe
say
you better
that.
go into executive session.
Yeah, I would,
Yeah,
exactly, I
so-
would say, well, that would be my next request, is to go in executive session to do that and have a quick discussion on that, because I think that could be strategic and important to the village.
I would ask for that motion, to go into executive session to discuss.
Well, I made the motion, so Vern is seconding the motion.
Do you
To
have that website? Lucas
discuss,
said?
I'll pull it up.
To discuss a bid offer for the old
purchase of
VFW.
land?
Yeah.
Lucas, are you looking
Purchase
for the
of land.
language?
No, I'm pulling up the auction site.
Yeah, for the
Oh.
purchase of land.
For the
So
purchase
let's
of land,
try not to
yes.
talk about that piece of it right now. I would like to move that we have a discussion in executive session. Vern
I would
seconded
imagine
that.
if you go to the website now, that the dollars are starting to
They
go
just
up.
started
Right.
going up.
Right, exactly.
So,
Oh, I'm sure of it.
So
Okay,
we
Mr.
got-
Bertone, you put
I-
that motion up?
I did, Mr. Horton seconded it. If we
Thank
can get
you.
a bunch of ayes, we can go into executive session and have a conversation.
4. Bertone,
Aye.
Horton,
Aye.
Becknick,
Aye.
McKinney,
Aye.
Shaver. Thank you.
And that was to talk about real estate matters.
Fair.
Okay.
Nothing else from the public. We will not be taking any action coming out of executive session, at least nothing to talk about
Right.
publicly, so. All right.
So if you go quick, we don't have to leave this room.
Yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Right,